It's Relationship Wednesday, and welcome to the Bad Influence Podcast with yours truly, Jordan Banderas. Listen to what I must tell you today, because this can help you understand where your passion went in your relationship. The moment somebody else gets excited about your partner is the same moment you find out how long you stopped. Picture the last time you were in a room with your partner and someone else. It could have been a friend, a coworker, whatever, just someone else. Not a big moment, an ordinary one, a dinner, a work event, a group hangout that didn't mean anything going in. And at some point in that room, someone else leaned in when your partner spoke. Actually leaned in. Laughed a little too easy at something normal. Ask a follow-up question you didn't bother asking anymore. And you noticed it. Oh yes, you did. Not because you were jealous. Because some small part of you registered. That's not usual. Someone's actually paying attention. And for half a second before you talk yourself out of it, you felt something uncomfortable. Not fear exactly. No, it wasn't fear. It was recognition. Because that person in the room was doing something you used to do. Something you stopped doing a while ago without ever deciding to. Leaning in. Laughing a little too easy. Actually curious about the answer instead of already knowing. When's the last time you look at your partner like that? Like they were still worth leaning toward. Take a second. Actually answer that. Don't rush past it. No, don't rush past it. If you can remember, that's the whole episode right there. Because here's what nobody tells you about long-term relationships. Now, I haven't heard anybody talking about this. Passion doesn't usually get stolen in one dramatic moment. It gets vacated, slowly, quietly, one skip question at a time. Think about that. You stop asking how their day actually went and started asking it out of habit instead. You stop noticing what they were wearing, what they were actually excited about, what changed on their face when they talk about something they loved. And somewhere in there, without a single fight, without a single betrayal, a crack opened up between you. Not on purpose, because this wasn't done on purpose, but they're all the same. And cracks don't stay invisible forever. No, they don't. Someone eventually notices a crack, not because they're a villain. No, they're not being a villain, because it was right there to see. Yes, it's right there in front of you guys. And when that happens, when you finally notice someone else being interested in the person you've been coasting next to for years, don't be surprised. Yeah, don't be surprised. Be honest instead. Yeah, be honest. Because you're not shocked that someone noticed your partner. You're shocked that it took you this long for you to notice you stopped. Think about that. This isn't about them. It was never about them. This is about the version of you that used to lean in and quietly stop one unremarkable evening at a time, because that's exactly what happens and how it happens. And you've been calling that comfort. You've been calling that settling in. You're like, this is fine. But today, you find out what it actually is and how much of your relationship has been running on a passion you retired years ago without telling anyone, including yourself. Somewhere back before this relationship, you learned that showing how much you wanted someone was a risk. Not a small risk, a real one. Maybe you went all in on someone once, showed the whole hand, laughed too loud at their jokes, made it obvious how much you liked them, and it went bad. Because it happens. They pulled back once they knew they had you. Yes, they were assholes, right? Or they used it. Knew exactly how much you cared and knew exactly how far they could push before you'd still stay. Or maybe it wasn't even romantic. Maybe you got excited about something once in front of the wrong people and got laughed at for caring that much. Either way, you learned the same lesson from a different door. Visible passion is expensive. Show too much and you hand somebody leverage over you. So you build a strategy. Oh, yes, you did. A smart one. Actually, for whatever situation, taught it to you. Keep some of it back. Stay a little unreadable. Let them wonder instead of letting them know. That way, if it went wrong, you'd still have something left. You wouldn't be the person who gave everything and got nothing back. And it worked, right? I know it worked because it worked for me a long time ago. It protected you exactly the way it was supposed to. Yes, it did, huh? Just like it protected me. But here's the problem. That strategy was built for one specific kind of danger. A person, a room that will use your enthusiasm against you. And at some point, you brought that same strategy into a relationship with someone who was never trying to use it against you at all. Yes, you did. We all do this. We use this strategy against someone safe, someone who wanted your whole enthusiasm, not your ration version of it. But the strategy doesn't know the difference between a person who'd exploit your passion and a person who'd actually cherish it. It just knows. Hold back. Every time. No exceptions. So you held back with them too. Yes, you did. Or probably you're even doing it right now. Not because they gave you any reason to. Because they usually don't give you a reason to hold back. It's because the strategy doesn't wait for a reason anymore. It just runs. Think about the early days with your partner. If you can remember them clearly, there was probably a version of you that showed up excited, attentive, actually leaning in, that old, how are you? How was your day? Tell me more. And somewhere along the way, without one single bad thing happening between you two, you dialed it back down to the ration version, the safer version, the one you built for people who couldn't be trusted with the real thing. Your partner didn't do anything to deserve that. They just got the leftover setting from an old war that had nothing to do with them. This is the part that matters most. So I want you to listen to it clean. You didn't do this because you don't love them. You did this because a long time ago, in a completely different situation, holding back kept you safe. That's not a character flaw. That's a smart response to something real. But here's where it stops being understandable and starts being your responsibility. Whoever or whatever taught you that lesson isn't in the room with you now. That old risk isn't sitting across the table from you at dinner anymore. No, it is not. Your actual partner is. And your actual partner has been getting ration passion this whole time for a danger that isn't theirs, that they never created, that they can't even see. Think about how unfair that actually is. Once you say it plainly. They've been quietly paying the price for something that happened to you before they ever showed up. And they don't even know the debt exists. All they know, yes, all they know is that somewhere along the way, You stop leaning in the way you used to. And they've been living with that gap, wondering if it's them when the truth is it was never them at all. Here's what nobody tells you about a strategy like this. It doesn't expire on its own. No, it does not. Nobody hands you a note that says, you can put this one down now. You're safe. Nah, nobody says that. You have to notice it's still running and choose to stop it yourself. And that part is hard. Otherwise, it just keeps operating quietly in every relationship you're ever in, protecting you from something that isn't there anymore. Think about how long you've been running this. Long enough that it doesn't even feel like a strategy anymore. Yeah, it doesn't feel like a strategy anymore at one point. It just feels like who you are. Calm, reserved, not a big passion guy. Not really the type. That's not a personality trait. That's an old defense. Worn in so long, it stopped looking like armor and started looking like skin. And every day you keep wearing it around someone who was never the threat, you're not protecting the relationship. Oh, you're not. Let's be honest. You're starving it. Because passion doesn't just disappear when you ration it. It goes somewhere else, and it goes nowhere at all. And either way, your partner feels the absence, even when they can't name it. Somewhere in you, there's still the version who used to lean in first, laugh too loud, ask the follow-up question because you actually wanted to know the answer. That version isn't gone. No, it's not gone. It's just been benched, running an old play against an opponent who was never actually on your partner's side of the field. And it's time, oh yes, it's time to find out what happens when you finally let that version back onto the field in front of the one person who was never trying to hurt you in the first place. Notice how little you actually feel right now thinking about your partner. Not nothing, just less than you'd expect for someone you built a whole life with. That's not contentment, that's numbness. And there's a real difference between the two, even though they can look identical from the outside. They kind of do look identical from the outside if you think about it, because contentment is warm and quiet. Numbness is just quiet. Think about the last time something about your partner actually moved something in you. Not politely, actually move you. Their laugh, the way they said something unexpected, the way they look doing something completely ordinary. You know, when you give them that look and you're like, I love this person. If you have to search hard for their memory, that's the tell. Because a body that's been running ration passion long enough, it stops registering the good stuff the way it used to. Not because the good stuff stop happening. Because you stop letting yourself feel it truly. So many times that your body finally got the message and turned the volume down for good. It happens. That's what survival mode does when it runs too long. It doesn't just block the bad feelings. No, it doesn't. It flattens the good ones as well. Because feeling anything at full volume was never part of the deal you made with yourself. Oh, yes. You made that deal with yourself. So think about how flat your days have started to feel. Not bad, not painful, just flat. Gray and manageable. You wake up, you go through the motions with your partner, nothing hurts. Nothing sinks either. And you've mistaken the absence of pain for the presence of peace. It's not peace. It's a body that's been running low and slow for so long. It forgot how to run any other way. Here's where it actually lives in your body. Oh, yeah. A dullness behind your eyes when your partner talks about something they're excited about. And you know what? I have seen this in other couples. And that's why I wanted to talk about this. Because in this situation, you nod, you listen, but nothing in you leans toward it the way it used to. A flatness in your chest during the moments that used to make your pulse pick up. The anniversary, the compliment, the small unexpected gesture. Your face does the right thing. Smiles, says thank you. But underneath the smile, there's nothing lighting up. Just performance running on autopilot. And again, I have seen this so many times in other couples. Think about how much of your affection has become performance instead of feeling. Saying the right words, doing the expected gestures, all the outer signs of passion, with none of the actual current running through them. Your partner probably can't name what's missing. But bodies know things words don't. Yes, our bodies do know. They feel the difference between a hug that means something and a hug that's just the correct shape. You know, one of those like, instead of, And here's the part that should actually scare you. Numbness doesn't stay contained to just this one relationship. No. Once your body learns to flatten feeling here, it starts flattening feeling everywhere. Oh, yes, it does. Music that used to hit you doesn't hit the same. The things that used to genuinely excite you barely register anymore. You've slowly turned the volume down on your whole life, and you told yourself it was called being mature. Well, sorry to break it to you, but it's not maturity. It's a body stuck in a low protective hum. So long after the danger passed, I forgot that there was ever supposed to be a return to full volume. Think about how long it's actually been since you felt something at full intensity and then immediately manage it back down. Excitement, real excitement, the kind that makes your chest feel too small for what's in it. If you can't remember the last time, that's not a small thing. And I want you to understand that. Because that's a body that's forgetting what full volume even feels like. And it's costing you more than romance. Oh, yes, it's costing you more than that. It's costing you the actual experience of being alive inside your own life instead of quietly managing your way through it. This is what staying in survival mode too long actually does. It doesn't just protect you from hurt. No, that's not what it does. It steals your access to feeling anything at full strength, the bad and the good together, because your body doesn't know how to give you one without risking the other. And every day you let that numbness sit there unchallenged, it gets a little more familiar, a little more like just how things are, until one day some stranger at a dinner leans in and laughs at something your partner said, and you feel something for the first time in months. Not desire for them to have your partner, recognition that the thing they're doing right now, actually being present, actually feeling something, used to be yours to give. And you're going to have to decide right there in your own chest whether you're willing to stay numb or whether you're finally ready to feel something on purpose again. So stop looking at the numbness and start looking at why it's protecting you from finding out. Yes, don't be scared to find out, because the numbness was never really about running out of feeling. No, it's about a question you've been avoiding by staying flat. Here's the truth hiding underneath it. Some part of you likes being numb. Oh, yes. You don't have to argue with me. It's true. Not because it feels good, because it doesn't ask anything of you. As long as you stay flat, you never have to risk feeling something fully for your partner and finding out it isn't reciprocated the way it used to be. You never have to risk leaning in all the way again and getting the ration version back. That's the shadow, not the numbness itself, the relief inside it, the quiet comfort of never being fully exposed again. Because if you finally let yourself feel everything and it turned out your partner had gone numb too, you'd have to face something scarier than distance. You'd have to face that you might have let this go further than either of you meant to. So instead, you protect yourself by staying at half volume, by staying half safe, managed, unbothered. And you call that being low maintenance. Yes, you have. Well, guess what? It's not low maintenance. It's a shield built to protect you from ever finding out how far the gap between you two has actually grown. And I want you to sit with that. If you never turn the feeling back up, you never get to keep the story alive forever. The one where everything's basically fine, nothing's really wrong, you're just not really an intense person. That story is comfortable. It is comfortable. Except it's costing you the actual relationship you built this whole life around. Because a person who stays numb on purpose never finds out what's actually still alive underneath it. And here's what's happening while you avoid that answer. Because something always happens, Every month you stay at half volume, the distance between who you are with your partner and who you actually could be with them gets a little wider. Not loud, wide. Quite enough that you both still function completely fine. Wide enough that you feel it the second someone else's attention makes it visible. That's what the numbness has been keeping score of the whole time. The gap. Growing every day, every month, every year. And here's who you're becoming while it grows. Someone who's excellent at maintaining a relationship and terrible at actually being inside one. Someone your partner describes as steady, reliable, easy, and privately, someone they can't quite remember lighting up for anymore. That word should land harder than the others. Lighting up. Because a partner who used to lie up for you and stop isn't rejecting you. No, it's not rejection. They're mirroring exactly what you've been giving them. Oh yes, people tend to mirror what the other one is giving them. They start rationing back. Not out of spite, out of self-protection. The same protection you built for yourself. Except now they're building it too. In response to you. That's attachment doing exactly what it's built to do. It matches the availability it's actually getting, not the availability it was promised back at the beginning. Show up avoiding long enough, and a securely attached partner doesn't stay that way forever. You slowly teach them to hold back too. And you probably told yourself the quiet was just what long-term relationships look like. It didn't have to be. You trained it into the room, one flat evening at a time. That's the part that should actually keep you up at night. Not that you went numb, that your numbness is quietly teaching the person you love to go numb too. Now, Hold that next to what you actually build this relationship for. You didn't fall for this person so you could manage them at half volume for the next 30 years. You fell for them because some part of you believed they were worth the full, unrationed version of you. And here's the mirror. So I want you to look at it straight. If you keep giving them the ration version, one day someone else is going to give them the full one. And you won't get to be surprised. Not because they're a bad partner. No, they're a good partner, a great partner. This happens because a person starved of real attention long enough eventually notices when somebody finally offers the real thing. And this is not a moment you want to be finding out for the first time that the passion you retired years ago was still available the whole time, just never handed back over. That's the real risk hiding behind all your calm. Not that you'll lose them dramatically, because that's not what happens. That you'll lose them quietly to someone who simply gave what you already decided was too risky to give. Oh yes, this happens more often than not. Because withholding doesn't just fail to build connection. No, it doesn't just fail to do that. It actively teaches the person across from you that full connection isn't on the table here. So eventually, they stop looking for it here at all. And then you get surprised why they're cold or why they're into someone else. Here's what staying exactly like this actually steals from you. Not just a flat Tuesday. Not just a quiet dinner. It steals the one thing this whole relationship was actually supposed to become. Two people who know they're fully seen, fully wanted, fully leaned toward by the person they chose. Because right now, your partner only knows the managed version of that, not the real one. And a person who's never met the real version of you can only ever love the managed one. That's not their fault. It is not. You never gave them the other one to meet. You only gave them one, so that's what they started loving, and then it didn't work out. Think about what that means for the years you've already spent like this. A whole relationship built and maintained on a passion that got quietly rationed down to almost nothing. Looks fine from the outside. Looks like a solid, stable, drama-free partnership. But underneath it, the person you chose has been sitting across from a version of you that's only half awake, wondering, without ever quite saying it, where the rest of you went. That's the cost. Not a blow-up, not a scandal, just a slow, quiet numbness mistaken for maturity, growing in a relationship that looks completely fine from every angle except the one that actually matters. And it doesn't announce itself. It just shows up, fully formed, the night someone else leans in at dinner and finally feel all at once everything you've been managing not to feel for years. That's not a future risk. That's exactly where you're already headed. Here's the part of the shadow that's easy to miss. It's not just costing the two of you. If you have children, or if people close to you are watching this relationship as a model, they're learning something from the way you show up here. They're learning that love, once it's been around a while, it's supposed to go quiet, managed, half-lit. They're learning that passion is for the beginning, not for the after. And that's a lie you've been handing them without ever saying a single word. That's the part that should actually land the hardest. Not that you went numb. That your numbness is quietly becoming someone else's blueprint for what love is supposed to look like once the newness wears off. And believe me, this happens more often than not. You already know the managed version isn't who you actually are. You already know that. You've known it every time someone else's attention towards your partner made something in your chest tighten for half a second. You've known it every time you called the flatness peace and felt something in you go quiet in protest. And you can keep calling it maturity. Yeah, you can keep calling that maturity. It doesn't matter. Or you can finally admit the only thing standing between you and the relationship you actually wanted was never your partner. It was you. Yes, you rationing yourself against a danger that left the room a long time ago. That's right. You did that. So here's where you stop rationing and start giving it back. Everything you just heard wasn't meant to shame you. It wasn't. You had to see exactly what the numbness was protecting you from before you could ever choose to feel past it. And now, you have. Yes, you have. So let's talk about what's actually on the other side of rationing. Not guaranteed performance, something more honest than that. The chance to actually be known again. That's the whole thing you've been missing. Not safety, being seen and seeing them back at full volume. I love guys are going through this right now. Here's the new standard. Passion was never about certainty that it'll be received exactly the way you want. That's not how it works. Passion is how you find out whether this person is still worth the whole thing instead of assuming they aren't and never checking. That's the shift right there. You've been waiting to feel safe before you feel anything fully. Safety isn't going to arrive first. It only shows up after you risk showing up fully and survive it. And this is what I love gurus or relationship gurus don't talk about. So the new rule is simple. You lean in first and you find out what's still there second. That's going to feel exposed at first. It's supposed to. Your body's been trained to flank right at the exact moment this asks you to feel more. And here's what practicing this actually looks like. Small. Not a grand gesture overnight. Ask a real question tonight, not the habitual one. The one you'd ask if you were actually curious about the answer. Notice their face when they realize you're actually listening. Oh yeah. Notice that face and you'll be like, "Ah." Let yourself feel that instead of managing it back down to a comfortable level. That's the whole practice. Not performing more passion, actually letting yourself feel what's already there. Here's the win version of this. So you know what you're actually aiming at. The win isn't some perfect night where every spark comes back at once. No, that is hard to do and it will never happen. The win is smaller than that and realer. The win is the first time you let yourself feel something for your partner at full volume. And you don't immediately talk yourself back down to safe. Even if it's small. Even if it's just one real question tonight instead of the automatic one. That single moment it starts proving the old danger wrong with real evidence about this person, not the one who taught you to ration in the first place. That's the win, not the grand romantic gesture, actual proof. Here's the part I'm not going to skip because it usually gets left out. This isn't going to go perfectly. No, it is not. Some nights you're going to fly and back down anyway, out of pure habit. This is a habit that's been managing your life for so long. Some nights you lean in and if it will feel awkward, or the moment won't land the way you hope, or your partner won't know what to do with the sudden attention at first. That's not failure. No, it is not. That's what waking up a body that's been asleep for years actually looks like. The goal was never instant chemistry every night. The goal is that you keep coming back to feeling it, even on the nights it doesn't land clean. Because passion was never a one-time performance. It's a practice you keep choosing on purpose long after the excuse for hiding it expired. This is why I keep making this show. Because this right here, you listening to this, sitting with this, feeling exactly how numb you let yourself get. This is the whole reason the Bad Influence podcast exists. Not to make you feel good for 20 minutes and send you back to managing yourself at high volume. To put a mirror in front of you that you can talk your way out of. And if you skip next Wednesday, you go back to rationing alone, telling yourself it's just how relationships mellow out. If you're here, yes, if you're right here, you don't have to figure this out alone. So subscribe. Not for me, for the partner sitting across from you tonight who's been quietly waiting for the version of you that used to lean in. Because they've been waiting a long, long, long time. And waiting doesn't bring it back. Only you leaning in again does. Picture this a year from now. You still catch yourself landing sometimes. The old strategy doesn't disappear completely. It just stops running the whole show, which is good. But you catch it faster now. You feel yourself pulling back and you lean in anyway. Your partner has felt the difference by now. Yeah, because it's been a year. Not because you announced it. Because you keep proving it. You keep doing the work, one real question, one real action at a time. They stop being surprised when you notice something about them. They started expecting it. Not performance. You, the real you, the romantic you, the passionate you. That's not luck. That's the practice you started tonight. And that flatness that used to feel like peace, it doesn't feel like peace anymore. It feels like exactly what it always was, a slow way of protecting yourself from a danger that already ended. Here's the truth underneath everything I've told you today. Someone else being interested in your partner was never actually the threat. No, it was not. Don't let the red pill guys tell you otherwise, because your numbness was. Whatever taught you to ration your passion did its job a long time ago. The threat is gone. The habit has stayed. That's what happens. And it's been quietly starving the one relationship it was never built to protect you from in the first place. So tonight, this is your move. Plain and simple. Ask the real question. Let your face actually light up when they say something you love, instead of managing it down to a polite smile. Stop rationing the person you chose like they're still the danger from years ago. You might find out they light up right back. And that's good. Because the second they feel you actually showing up again, they might actually light up again and they might be happy and you might be like, yes, we're happy. Or you might find out exactly where the real work is being between you. Either way, you'll know something true instead of managing something flat. Because the relationship that actually lasts was never built by two people staying safely numb next to each other. That's not how successful relationships work. It was built by two people willing to keep choosing each other fully, on purpose, long after the beginning wore off. Your passion didn't die. It didn't. It's just been benched, waiting for you to finally put it back in the game. Stop rationing. Lean in. Be the reason nobody else ever gets the chance to notice what you stop giving. And remember, the choice is yours.